Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the third recording, episode 2, though, of Raiders on the Podcast. My name's Jacob Buttar, the host here. We've got some returners. We got Kris Jacoby. We got Tom Dry. We've got Jason Csank. But we have a new guy here in whatever we're calling this studio. Yeah, I almost called it the booth. We're not in the booth. We're not broadcasting a game. Mr. Ramsey Reith. Ramsey, why don't you introduce yourself to the crowd?
What's going on, guys? I'm Ramsey Reith, and I'm really excited to join this podcast here.
Yeah, of course. Ramsey is Little Blaine, really.
I am.
He is.
I'm Blaine 2.0.
Blaine 2.0. If you will. Yes, indeed. Love Blaine. Love Ramsey. Glad to have you here, Mr. Ramsey. So, first things first, we're going to get into it. The biggest event of really all of sports all year round is always the Super Bowl. So, we're going to get right into it, just talking about that. We did a little bit of a preview last week, gentlemen, a Super Bowl preview of the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. But now that we are closer to the game, what predictions do we have for the game itself? A score prediction, Super Bowl MVP, keys to the game, whatever you guys want to mention.
All right, so last week I talked about the defenses, and I want to talk about them again. The Chiefs' defense, their pass defense, only allowed a 61.2% completion percentage, fourth best in the league. 83.6 rating, eighth best in the league, and registered 57 sacks and 125 quarterback hits. Those were both second in the league. That pass rush is unreal. The secondary, unreal. Now if you look at the 49ers defense, the run defense only allowed 89.7 yards per game, third best in the league. Their pass defense had 48 sacks and 122 quarterback hits, both top 10. Two elite defenses. My prediction for this game, I'm going to say there's going to be two defensive touchdowns, as I mentioned last week, a L'Jarius Sneed pick six, a Fred Warner scoop and score, and I think I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes. I got to go Chiefs 30-27. Mahomes is that guy. I don't see anyone taking him down anytime soon.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think if you're San Francisco, if you can somehow, by the grace of God, shut down Mahomes and make this turn this into a ground game, you're gonna have a heck of a shot. You have the best running back in all of football, who I think should have won the MVP. But we'll get on to that later. But I hope there's a lot of running to set up the pass, because if you're going Purdy versus Mahomes, no disrespect to Purdy, if he has to throw the ball 50 times or even 40 times, I wouldn't be a fan of that. So, but I'm going to go Chiefs 27-24.
Kris mentioned the defenses. I'm going to talk about the offenses a little bit. Obviously, you have two of the most high-caliber offenses, two of the deepest offenses in the entire league. I think this is going to be a shootout. That's just my personal opinion of it. I think we got two really strong offenses. Now, we have two strong defenses as well, but they say defense wins championships, but I don't know. These are two really strong offenses. You got people like Pat Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey on both sides. It's going to be a fun game to watch, in my opinion. I think we're going to have a lot of offensive firepower. I got a little parlay on it. Maybe Travis Kelce could score a touchdown. Maybe Christian McCaffrey could score a touchdown. Maybe we see some Pacheco rushing yards, more than 67. And, hopefully we can see a little monetary gain from this. But my personal pick, I'm going to go opposite of these two guys. I'm going to go 49ers. I'm going to go, 35-31, I think. It's going to be a pretty close game, the entire game, but I think it's going to be an offensive shootout, and we're going to have a lot of fun watching the game.
It's very valid, Jason. I'm a tight end lover this game. You got top two tight ends going at it, George Kittle, Travis Kelce. I feel like those two are going to really be the decisive winner of this game. I got the Chiefs. They always just heat up at the right time. The regular season, we saw something we haven't from them, but they always just click right in the playoffs, and they're just too dominant. And as Tom said, Mahomes is, I feel like, by far better than Brock Purdy. So I got Chiefs in a shootout as well, 38-34, and Travis Kelce MVP.
Oh, Travis Kelce MVP. Taylor Swift's going to be liking that if Travis gets that MVP.
I do not like that part.
I do not like that part of it either, Ramsey. I will go right there with it. No. Okay. No Swifties on this podcast. But for me personally, I honestly think I understand what y'all are saying about Brock Purdy. and I don't think he's as good as Patrick Mahomes at all, but I think it's going to be which quarterback's going to play better. Now, they're totally different quarterbacks, don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes is going to win a game by himself. Brock Purdy, he's the definition really of a game manager, but he's an elite game manager, I would have to say. And if he gets it to his skill players, doesn't make any boneheaded decisions, I think that they have an opportunity to win the game. So I think it's going to be a quarterback battle, but I do think Kansas City is going to come out on top 27-24. Key to the game for the Chiefs to win, though, this is what I'm going to say. The wide receivers not named Travis Kelce actually have to be competent football players this week as well. Can't be having any drops. Can't be having none of that because Patrick Mahomes needs a little bit of help out there, and I hope those wide receivers will get him that help. But I think we're going to see a great game. 27-24 Chiefs is my prediction. Really, Jason, I think you're the only one that's got the 49ers.
I believe so. I'm hoping for it. I want to see Christian McCaffrey get his first ring. He deserves it.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it.
I do see that aspect of it, but just Steelers and their 6 rings. I don't want to see the Niners get their 6th.
Hey, yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
I also don't want Chiefs to win either.
See, I don't really care who wins the game. I just want to see a good game.
Yeah, I just want to see a good game as well.
Yeah.
I just L Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But it's still the Super Bowl.
Still the Super Bowl. We will see who comes away victorious. Right now, the consensus with us, though, Kansas City is going to be pulling away. But, gentlemen, I know we're going to get into a little bit of a heated discussion on this next topic. We talked about our NFL awards predictions last week. Well, they happened last night, and to say there was some controversy would be a little bit of an understatement. Now, reading off the winners, the MVP, Lamar Jackson, we kind of all predicted that. Same thing with Offensive Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey. Defensive Player of the Year, which we'll get into here in a second, Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns, winning his first ever Defensive Player of the Year. C.J. Stroud, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Will Anderson Jr., most of us didn't really predict that, but Will Anderson Jr. very deserving of that Defensive Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns. Comeback Player of the Year, Mr. Joe Flacco of the Cleveland Browns. The Browns really just winning every award. Jim Schwartz also won the Assistant Coach of the Year. And then, of course, Walter Payton Man of the Year for our Steelers in the room, Cam Hayward. Shout out Cam Hayward. Ohio State Buckeye as well. Great work on that, Cam.
Yes, sir.
But yes, of course. But getting into it, your reactions to the awards, were there any mistakes, any big surprises? What are we thinking?
My biggest surprise is Will Anderson. I was thinking Jalen Carter was going to take it, but I'm not surprised that Myles Garrett won, though. I knew he was going to win because he won PFWA Defensive Player of the Year and PFF Defensive Player of the Year. I think it just showed that teams feared and respected Myles Garrett a lot more. And when you look at that, as Jason mentioned last week, TJ Watt's double team rate wasn't even half of Myles Garrett's. Myles Garrett's was 29%, TJ Watt was 14%. And if you look at it right here, pass rush win rate, Myles Garrett 27.5%, TJ Watt only 16.9%. Then if you look right here at the snaps and pressures, Myles Garrett 6.6, TJ Watt 5.6. I mean, there's a whole list here I can go through. One I really want to look at is, I would say, run stops. I really want to shout out Myles Garrett and TJ Watt on both of this. They're known as edge rushers, but they both had over 7% run stop percentage, which was top 5 in the league. You got to shout out the edge guys there. And I wouldn't have been mad if Micah Parsons won. He had an incredible year, and TJ Watt. Both guys had incredible years, like I mentioned, but if you look at Twitter here, you can see Micah Parsons said to a fan saying TJ Watt was robbed, he said, "Horrible take. Myles was the better player. Reality of the situation. Myles faced way more double teams and effect on quarterbacks. Fans, please stop looking at the stats and look at the film." I agree. Myles Garrett is Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay. Whoever wants to go next.
You want to talk about watching the
There we
tape?
go.
You want to talk about watching the tape?
Watch tape. Micah Parsons, NFL player. He watches
Micah
tape.
Parsons threatened to stab a dude in Penn State's locker room. That's crazy.
He's the elite defensive. He's elite defensive player, man.
Allegedly.
Micah Parsons, he's an idiot.
Nope.
And he plays for Dallas.
He knows
The
ball.
Cowgirls.
Outside of what Ramsey just summed up perfectly, these quote-unquote advanced statistics, man, Pro Football Focus is trash. This stuff is nonsense.
They will make up the most random stat.
Yeah, they're
just to push the narrative.
They're worse than ESPN.
Myles
It's
Garrett.
wild. The idea that you can watch TJ Watt and not think he's the best defensive player in the world, I don't get it. I'm not even saying that from a biased standpoint. If you watch the tape over the last 7 weeks of that season,
All the gifted.
who was
stats.
there? Who gifted?
Yeah.
Gifted.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now look,
We can watch every game tonight, Chris. Let's do it.
Well, TJ might be the best defensive player on the planet, potentially. You could maybe make an argument, but it's for the year. So, I mean...
Stats, film, all of it.
I get it, the stats. But, like, if we're going that way, like, Patrick Mahomes is better than every player in the NFL. He should be racking up, like, every award. So, I'm just saying, for a year perspective.
For this year, I firmly believe he was the best player in the league.
I don't fully disagree with you on that.
I mean, the fact that I am a Browns fan that can at least somewhat agree with that should say everything. But outside of the fact that the NFL is rigged, I think D'Amico Ryan should have won Coach of the Year. Stefanski's not a bad pick. He would have been my second pick. And, shout out to the NFL for doing the right thing and voting for a player who played the game as the comeback player of the year. No disrespect to DeMar Hamlin, but you have to play more than 10 snaps. So
I'll start off by saying Baker Mayfield should have won comeback player of the year.
I agree with that.
Not a bad take.
He played the entire season and led Tampa Bay back into the postseason, defeated the Eagles and their dumb little tush push they got going on over there.
Whoa! Are you attacking Sirianni?
Are you anti-tush push?
Are you against Mount Union alumni Sirianni? You should get out of this room right now.
No. It's just, hey, credit to them. They've been successful using it, and no other NFL team has done it other than maybe one other. I can't even remember, but that's irrelevant. Baker Mayfield should have won comeback player of the year, and the defensive player of the year. Let's just take a deep breath and let's be real with ourselves. Let's face reality about who should have won. The only one I feel like TJ Watt should have 3 DPOYs, and that's me being biased. Aaron Donald beat TJ Watt that year, and I guess that's valid. But Myles Garrett being like 7th, 8th, 9th. Nick Herbig, a 5th round. What was it? 5th round or what was he?
I believe so. I believe it was
5th round draft pick, Nick Herbig. 2 sacks to Myles Garrett's 1 in the last 5 to 7 games. 7 games. A 5th round draft pick had more sacks than Myles Garrett. But Myles Garrett has had 5 pressures that game against Houston. I think he really made an impact that postseason game.
That's really great that he could actually get home.
I think he's going to be defensive.
Finish the
I think
play.
that's your defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so.
He had a way better pressure percentage, and a lot of guys are cleaning up his sacks. He was number 1 in pressures through those weeks where he didn't register many sacks. I was at the Jets game. Trevor Siemian was getting that ball out in 1.5 seconds. Myles Garrett was not going to get back there to sack him. He was getting it out way too quick because the pressure was there. Just saying, Myles Garrett is the best
Trash.
player.
Do better.
Trash
then.
argument.
Do better than.
Trash argument. Every quarterback's going to try and get the ball out as quick as possible. That's crazy, Chris.
Look at all the gifted sacks for TJ Watt, man. There's a lot of film against Cincinnati.
Gifted sacks. That's a crazy term.
Hey, let's go to the man that's wearing the Myles Garrett jersey right now.
I
What are
wore
you
this
thinking?
jersey to stir something up a little bit. I'm not going to stir any farther. We got a little bit of discourse. I do want to talk about something that I was a little surprised about. And like Ramsey said, I think Baker Mayfield should have won comeback player of the year. Obviously, when I made my pick, I said DeMar Hamlin just because that story is incredible, what you come back from.
Yes.
And as a devout Browns fan my entire life, I'm happy that Joe Flacco won. I just don't know if he has a better case than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's been kind of dragged through the dirt his entire career, and he played an entire season with Tampa Bay, and he played pretty well. We haven't seen that since, his rookie season in Cleveland, Jacob?
Yeah, I would have to say so.
He put up great stats. He started to build a little comeback for the Buccaneers. It didn't work out for him in the long run, but he established himself as their quarterback for the next couple of years, and I think, honestly, he should have won it. Like I said, I'm happy Joe Flacco won it as a Browns fan, but I don't know.
Yep.
Obviously, it was great watching him in the back half of that season take us to the playoffs pretty much because we wouldn't have done it with any of our backups, but I don't know. I just think they might have snubbed Baker a little bit there.
Yeah, and for where I'm going to go with the awards, I'm just going to say who I thought should have won Defensive Player of the Year last week, and I still stand by it. TJ Watt, I think, should have won Defensive Player of the Year. But like how I said last week, though, Myles Garrett was very validated to win the award as well. So it was between one of those two. Miles getting it over TJ. It is going to be very controversial for a long time.
Highway robbery.
As a Browns fan, I love it though because the Browns-Steelers rivalry is just going to go up to 100 again next year with all that animosity from the award.
I can't wait. I can't wait
Won
either.
the last 2 seasons.
But okay, we ain't going there yet. But here,
Who hasn't had a losing season since my brother Blaine was
Playoff win?
born?
Who has the latest playoff?
okay, all right. But for me too, I'm going right where Jason's going with the comeback player of the year. If it wasn't going to be DeMar Hamlin, it should have been Baker Mayfield on that because I love Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, if for whatever reason you're bored and you're listening to this podcast ever, let it be known. I love you and thank you for everything you did for the Cleveland Browns. However, Baker Mayfield did it over a whole season. Joe Flacco did it over the last stretch of season, really. So Baker Mayfield should have won the award if we're going off play. DeMar Hamlin should have won the award because he's literally the definition of the comeback player of the year. He came back from the dead, for crying out loud. So I don't know. A lot of controversy and definitely a lot of great takes, but we're going to move on here to something that's been a little bit controversial at times in the past as well. That is the NFL announcing the Hall of Fame class. It's going to be going right down the road here in Canton, Ohio at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So this year's class includes Devin Hester, Julius Peppers, Dwight Freeney, Randy Gradishar, Andre Johnson, Steve McMichael, Patrick Willis, and some notable snubs, though, include Antonio Gates, who's on his first year of the ballot, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Rodney Harrison, and Jared Allen. Guys, what are we thinking about the class?
I'm just happy Devin Hester got in. I love seeing his special teamers in there. In his career, 5 kickoff return touchdowns, 14 punt return touchdowns, over 7,000 yard kickoff return yards, and 24.5 yards per return, and over 3,600 yards on punt returns. He was the greatest returner of all time. That's all I can say. And I'm glad they're putting special teamers in there. I'm hoping Josh Cribbs will get in the future. I don't know for sure if he will. But for snubs, Antonio Gates, I think he's a top 5 tight end of all time. I think he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. He'll get in next year. Fully believe that. And I'm glad to see Julius Peppers get in there too. One of my favorite edge rushers of all time.
Devin Hester, I didn't think I'd ever see the day, but I absolutely love that. That warms my heart. Julius Peppers, I understand. Dwight Freeney, I understand. I understand all these guys, but I'm going to throw out a guy who year after year after year does not get the respect he deserves when it comes to the Hall of Fame, and that man is Hines Ward. For years.
I don't even think he was a finalist this year, pal.
Which is crazy. He's a semifinalist every year. He
I
gets
agree.
underlooked
He should be a finalist. He should be.
at a minimum.
I agree too.
Listen, 1,000 receptions, over 12,000 yards, 85 touchdowns. Dude balled out, right? He was a stud, right? Andre Johnson, 64 touchdowns. 70 touchdowns and 14,000 yards. Some difference, but not enough to tell me that Hines Ward shouldn't at least be a finalist. I'm looking forward to the day he finally gets the respect he deserves.
I'm going to echo what's been said already. I love seeing Devin Hester get his recognition. You know, absolutely the best special teams player of all time. I love Josh Cribbs. He just wasn't as good as Devin Hester. Devin Hester was just levels above anybody who's ever played in special teams. Some snubs. Antonio Gates absolutely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, as well as Reggie Wayne. And I would have to agree with Tom. I think Hines Ward deserves his recognition in the Hall. He's, as a devout Browns fan, like I've said before, he really showed out in his entire career. He was a great wideout for the Steelers, and hopefully someday he gets the recognition that he deserves.
Can I have one thing real quick to that? He also blocked, unlike almost, I don't want to say every wide receiver in the league today, but relative to most, he blocked and put people on their behind every play. That's something you don't see at really anymore. So
yeah, one I really do remember is was it Ed Reed that he absolutely laid out.
Yeah, I think he got Ed Reed, and then he got some
he
dudes
laid
from
out
the
everyone.
Bengals.
He laid out everyone. I mean, I enjoyed watching Hines Ward growing up. Wow, I'll never forget the Antoine Randall to Hines Ward in the Super Bowl against Seattle. That was just...
Yeah, the fact that a wide receiver actually won Super Bowl MVP and can't get recognition for it.
It really isn't. I mean, like we've obviously said, Devin Hester getting in, it's amazing. He was an amazing special teamer. And Antonio Gates, unfortunately, not getting in is unfortunate as well, as we have talked about. But me being biased, why isn't Hines Ward in the Hall What the heck?
And me being biased, why is Clay Matthews Sr. not in the Hall of Fame for the Brownies?
Facts.
He deserves to be in too.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's
a
wow.
good one. And so for me, I'm gonna echo what you guys were saying. Devin Hester, thrilled that he's in. Greatest special teamser of all time. Another guy though, Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis had a very short career for the San Francisco 49ers, relatively speaking, but he was one of my favorite players growing up. He was a really dominant linebacker. So glad to see Patrick Willis get his flowers there too. For me, surprised that there was no Antonio Gates. And another thing though, no Torrey Holt yet. Torrey Holt was part of the greatest show on turf for the St. Louis Rams back in the day, and really everybody on that roster that made a big impact for that offense is in the Hall of Fame. Get Torrey Holt in the Hall of Fame for crying out loud now too. But one final thing very quickly here, just want to highlight some of the first-year eligible ones next season. We got Eli Manning, Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, Luke Kuechly, one of the greatest linebackers of our generation, as well as Terrell Suggs, Marshall Yanda, and also, lastly, Demaryius Thomas. Rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas. Do we think any of those guys are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers next year, gentlemen?
Yeah, Eli Manning, Luke Kuechly, greatest, not the greatest. I can't say that, but I would say top 10 of all time, top 10 linebacker of all time. Then maybe, just maybe, Terrell Suggs. I love Terrell Suggs, even though he played for Baltimore, one of the greatest linebackers of all time as well. Then Marshawn Lynch. I don't think he'll be first ballot, but I think he will get in eventually. Then Demaryius Thomas. Rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas, one of the greatest Denver Broncos receivers of all time. Glad he got a Super Bowl ring. I think he'll get in eventually as well. And same thing for everyone else, but I think first ballot it's Eli Manning and Luke Kuechly.
I think Kuechly and Suggs are probably first ballot guys. I think Yanda probably gets in the second year, and I think you could say the same for Eli. But I think at some point in their years of eligibility, they'll all find their bronze bust.
Yeah, I hope everybody at some point finds their way, because that is a really stacked class. Makes me feel old that a lot of players I watched growing up are
I'm
now
right there
getting
with you,
their Hall of Fame eligibility. I think Eli Manning absolutely deserves to be in there. Two wins against Tom Brady in his most dominant era. You can't go wrong with that. Terrell Suggs, absolute defensive powerhouse. Demaryius Thomas, probably the best wideout that the Broncos have ever seen. And I don't know, this is just an absolutely stacked class. I think everybody at some point deserves to be in the Hall.
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas, bless his soul, he broke my heart with that wild card
Tim
name.
Tebow.
Tim Tebow to Demaryius Thomas. First play of overtime. Really had me shocked.
Thanks, Ike Taylor.
Yeah, Ike Taylor. Yeah, he had a big head. I remember that. I love Ike Taylor, though. But I'm going to talk about Eli Manning. Absolutely love that guy. Beating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl twice. The undefeated Patriots, which was amazing. And then again, I mean, just preventing Brady from getting more rings. I don't hate Brady, but I just hate seeing the same guy or same team just win over and over and over and over. Like the Chiefs and 49ers. But who cares? That's not relevant to this. But Eli Manning, I love him. He should be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what you guys said. I think personally the only two that I would probably put first ballot right now is Marshall Yanda, the offensive guard for the Baltimore Ravens. He was 9 straight Pro Bowls. He's one of the best guards that we've seen of our generation. Luke Kuechly as well, despite his short career. I think he was on pace to be one of the greatest defensive players of all time had he not retired prematurely. So Luke Kuechly. What I'm going to say about Eli Manning, he's not going to be first ballot because we've seen that with the Hall of Fame. There's just so many guys that are up for eligibility. Not a knock on Eli. He's got 2 of the greatest wins of all time, and I hope one day he gets in the Hall. But I think he's going to wait a little bit longer than what people are expecting, because then you got to consider, I don't think he's going to get in the first ballot. Then he's going to be competing here in the near future with guys like Ben Roethlisberger as well as Tom Brady. Those guys are going to get in very quickly, right over him. Drew Brees as well.
Competing? Bro, it's not even close. Big Ben's taking that all day.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So
Eli, it's not a competition.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So like Eli's stats aren't necessarily like the greatest, and he doesn't have as many Pro Bowls as those guys do. He's got 2 of the greatest wins of all time, which is why I think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame at some point. However, I think he's not. I think he's going to have to wait just for a little bit. The Hall of Fame committee sometimes has made different quarterbacks wait for long periods of time. So I can see Eli Manning being that, but I think he's going to get in. And I want to see Marshawn Lynch get in eventually too, but I think he's going to have to wait a little while too. Just a stacked class. But guys, we're going to move away from the NFL here now. NBA trade deadline was also yesterday. I came into Raider Student Media yesterday and said it's my favorite day of the year, and I got to admit, it kind of disappointed a little bit. There weren't many major trades, but still big enough trades where they could make a potential impact. Some of the biggest ones was Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks going to the Knicks. That's a big deal right there. Detroit Pistons trading them away, essentially for Quentin Grimes and a bunch of guys that really aren't going to see the floor very much for Detroit, I would imagine. Gordon Hayward goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Guys like Trey Mann coming back in return, as well as Davis Bertans. Buddy Hield going to Mr. Tom Dry's Philadelphia 76ers.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be talking about that here in a second. That could be an impactful trade, and many other little minimal ones here as well. But, gentlemen, what deals kind of stood out to you? Who do we think won the deadline, and really, who do we think lost the deadline?
Oh, I know you want to talk about Bojan. I know you do. I know you do. I know you will. So I want to talk about Alec Burks. I think the Knicks won the deadline, by the way, making that clear. Alec Burks, he's a fantastic 3-and-D. He only averages 12.5 points a game, but that's great. A rotational piece off the bench. He shoots 40% from 3. He's always been a solid defender, on-ball defender. He moves on the offensive side of the ball. He moves well off of screens. He gets open and generates open looks. And he doesn't turn the ball over at all. He's clean. He's a clean player. Fantastic rotational piece. And I think the Knicks won the deadline. Like, as a Cavs fan, I do not want to run into the Knicks in the playoffs. I would rather have the Knicks and Celtics be on one side and they wear each other out in a Game 7 in the semifinals. I'm comfortable playing like the Magic, Bulls, Hawks first round than the Bucks the second round. That's what I would rather do instead of running to the Knicks in the playoffs. Who lost the deadline? I want to say the Lakers. The Lakers didn't bring anybody in, but they may, I don't know how I feel about them. They may start one in here with Bron. I can't count out my GOAT, King James, my Lee Pookie Bear, LeBron James. I can't count them out, but they didn't do anything. They didn't bring anybody in. They didn't bring in DeJounte Murray, so I think they lost the deadline. I'm going to pass it over to Tom now.
Man, finding out the Sixers lost Joel Embiid really hurt me. I was very sad. I'll see them 3 times over the next month, and I won't see Joel Embiid 1 time. That one hurts. However, on Monday night, I'll get to see Buddy Hield.
Bro, that gets you excited without Joel Embiid.
Listen.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not saying we're gonna do great the rest of the year, but I have more confidence now than I would if we didn't make this trade. I think that's the thing. He's a career 40% shooter from the 3-point line. Or, I mean, the arc, beyond the arc. But I'll take it. I'll take it any day. We haven't really had a great 3-point shooters in quite a while.
JJ Redick might be the last one.
Yeah, and he hasn't played for us in 4 years.
Yeah.
5 years. When he spurned us to go to the Pelicans.
He went to the Pelicans, yeah.
Yeah, bum. But all love JJ. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about it. It gives me at least some hope that we can stay afloat until hopefully Joel gets back, if that's a possibility. And if it's not, we should shut everything down and prepare for next year. But we'll see.
Trust the process, baby.
Oh yeah, dude, it's been over a decade. It's not working. It's not working.
Right.
I'm going to echo what Tom said. I think the Buddy Hield move to the 76ers is a great move for Philadelphia. Buddy's an absolute sniper. He has been his entire career. Big move that I thought happened was Hayward to OKC. Mm-hmm. He's been kind of bouncing around a while. I think he's a solid player. Hopefully OKC could find a spot for him in their rotation that works out best for him and for them. And I'd have to agree with Kris on biggest losers of the NBA trade line are the Los Angeles Lakers. Like I said last week, the GM, it doesn't seem like he really did anything. They lost on 2/8/24. They lost on Kobe statue unveiling night. Oh, yeah. And I don't know. It was the Nuggets. I'll give them that. They struggle with the Nuggets. They're a tough team, but I don't know. Looks like hopefully they can make the playoffs. I'm a big LeBron fan. I have been my entire life. But I feel there has to be some sort of change, and they didn't really make it at the trade deadline, so hopefully they can figure it out internally.
Come to the Cavs, LeBron.
That's what I'm saying.
Off-season free agency. Draft Bronny.
First round
Trash.
pick out of USC.
Oh my god.
That's
Gonna stay in the
He
league.
actually
that's a worse pick than Ben
He's
Simmons.
good. Though.
He's not too bad.
Bronny
He's got to stay in
He's
the
not
league.
Bronny
first round
Jr.
Yeah,
Bro.
He's not first round pick.
Bro.
Bronny is not.
He's a second rounder.
He's
a
a
late
second
second
rounder.
rounder.
He'll be good, and
he
he
needs
definitely
time.
still needs to develop. He's coming off of that cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
You
No,
gotta give him
no
time.
slander. No slander to
No,
Bronny.
no,
DeMar Hamlin did it.
Jeez, oh, man.
DeMar Hamlin played like
I'm
15
sorry.
snaps.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, you're done. But anyways, back to the trade deadline. Lakers, yes, they lost. LeBron coming to the games, and the Knicks, they definitely won. And I want to run it back with them, but I get what you're saying, Chris. I
would
get,
agree, honestly.
I get what you're saying, but run it back if they want to. I think we go. The Cavs, man, they're just. They're
get
hot.
into them in a
They're
little
hot.
bit,
They're hot.
yeah.
We'll get into that later, but
Oh, you're gonna get me into him. Yeah. I'm ready for him.
oh my. But yeah, Knicks won the deadline. Lakers lost the deadline. That's really all I got.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to echo what you guys said. The Knicks won the deadline. Bojan Bogdanovic is a massive, massive pickup for them because this team's very injured right now, but they're still playing relatively well. Julius Randle's out. OG Anunoby's going to be out for an extended period of time. Mitchell Robinson hasn't played in a couple months. When this team is at full strength, my, I do not want to play them in the playoffs. I'm just saying that. I personally think it goes Boston, but Boston's a Kristaps Porzingis injury away from, I think, not being as good as what they have been this year. Then the Cavs are super deep. Then the Knicks might be up there, and those three might be the deepest teams right now in the NBA. So I don't want to mess around with the Knicks in the playoffs. They totally won the deadline. OKC also won the deadline, though. Gordon Hayward trade, big pickup for a very young squad whenever you get a veteran in there. But I don't think the Lakers lost the deadline, guys. I think their roster's fine. I really liked their roster when they signed it in the offseason. Their guys just haven't played up to their capabilities. So that's what they're banking on right now. So guys obviously have to step up. The teams that did lose are the perennial play-in teams, the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls. What are you guys doing just being content with being 7-10? I don't really know when you have a bunch of tradable pieces on those teams too. They lost the deadline for me because really DeJounte Murray should have been traded. You can make an argument with guys like DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, maybe you should have moved them. Zach LaVine before he all of a sudden, I don't know why he did it. He just decided I'm going to be out for the rest of the season. Went down with an injury, but that was a voluntary move on his part. He could have been traded. I don't know. I think Chicago and Atlanta honestly lost the trade deadline. New York and Oklahoma City are the clear winners. But for the next NBA topic, Tom Dry might not want to be a part of this one because he's very depressed. As he already mentioned, he's not seeing Joel Embiid for the next 3 games that he's going to be seeing over the next month. Joel Embiid goes down with an injury, out at least 4 weeks. He's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Could be very much longer. That eliminates him from the MVP race. You have to play a minimum of 65 games throughout the season, so he is out of the MVP conversation, although he's been the most dominant player in the NBA. So, gentlemen, will the Sixers be okay, and who's the new MVP frontrunner?
All right, so 76ers, they're 1-4 since Embiid's injury. That's something to look at. Tom, I'm a Tyrese Maxey believer.
Yes, Chris.
I'm
yes,
a Tyrese
Chris.
Maxey believer.
Wow.
Buddy Hield. Dog, I would have loved him on the Cavs that's a couple years ago. Like, past few years, I was wanting him. I think your 76ers are going to be fine. I think they're going to maintain that 5th seed with Embiid out.
Yes,
that's
Chris.
with Embiid out.
Yes, Chris.
I'm a believer in Tyrese Maxey. Adding that 3-and-D Buddy Hield, that lengthy defender there, 3-point shooter, dog, and Nick Nurse. What a hell of a coach, man. What a hell of a coach. You got one of the best coaches in the NBA. You're going to be okay.
Listen.
I had to tell you that real quick. Then go ahead real quick.
Listen. I'm more of a I'm not a big fan of doctors or docs, as you could say. I'm a nurse guy. Yeah. Nick Nurse, Doc Rivers, trash. No, anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sad, but I want to talk about like the fact that we even have a rule that mandates that players have to play 65 games to be MVP. And
It's valid, bro. It's valid.
I get it.
It's valid.
Yeah, I'm not ripping on the rule. I'm gonna rip on the players for load management to get it to this point.
That's the whole reason why the
Yeah.
rule's in place now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the players did this to themselves, which honestly I hate. But man, when you're skipping random games, I don't want to say just to skip, but that's what some people did.
Yeah.
I mean it's bad for the game. So I mean I get it, but it sucks.
Did you say MVP front runner too?
Yeah, if you want to sprinkle it.
Yeah, you know Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, my.
Over the last 17 games, you know the Cavs are 16-1. Did you know that, Jacob?
I'm aware.
Did you know that? Did you know Donovan Mitchell was averaging 29 points per game, 7 assists, and 2 steals on 50% shooting over those last 17 games? Did you know that?
Did you know Nikola Jokic still plays in the NBA?
Yeah. Did you know Donovan Mitchell's better?
We're going to go over to Mr. Jason Csank and Mr. Ramsey.
Just slow down there.
Hold on.
Just
He's
slow down.
playing the
there.
best basketball of his career right now. He's been huge on the defensive end. He's second in steals in the NBA.
Yes.
He's great at reading offenses. He's read plays. He jumps in there, picks the pocket. Oh, I'm talking football right now a little bit. Donovan Mitchell is a dog. He's so shifty and dynamic on the offensive side of the ball, and it adds electricity to the crowd. He's MVP right now.
I agree with you. I love Donovan Mitchell. Please resign him, Cavs. But Nikola Jokic, he should have won 3 MVPs in a row, but
He sounds like TJ Watt.
the league, every professional league I feel like is rigged, but whatever, that's irrelevant. Jokic is the MVP. I love Mitchell and the Cavs. We'll get into that later, but yes, they are on fire right now. And just the Junkyard Dogs right now, they're just, the chemistry is amazing over there. But Jokic is your MVP frontrunner. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Jason?
I would not. I'm sorry, Mr. Ramsey. Nikola Jokic plays like that 40-year-old dude that you see at your local Y. It somehow works for him in the NBA. I'll give him props for that. I don't know how it works, but I'm sick of it. I'm not going to lie. Donovan Mitchell looks like if I played against a preschool team without all of the missed shots. He is, every time that I see him play, he is just absolutely on fire.
Valid.
I think he deserves his props. I love Donovan Mitchell. Please re-sign him, Cavs, like Ramsey said.
Yes.
This man has been absolutely on fire for the entire season. The Cavs have been on fire for the past, 25 games? They've won 20 of them.
We are 21 and 4. 21 and 4 last 25.
He has been leading the Cavs. He's been leading the charge. He would be leading the charge. That's not what I meant. He's leading the Cavs to absolute domination. I think Cavs are going to run the East. Donovan Mitchell, MVP.
Amen to that one.
Yeah.
All right. First part, Sixers aren't going to be fine. Sixers are they're gonna stay out of the play-in, bro, but they're not going to be fine. Maxey and Buddy Hield, yes, I love both of them, but without Joel Embiid, come on now. Let's stop playing with that.
I don't know.
Jacob.
They're pretty deep.
The East is loaded, though. They're not going to move up to the top 4. They're not going to do that. We keep forgetting the Indiana Pacers exist with Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam. Got to give them some respect. You never know. Orlando and Miami are just a few key injuries away from maybe popping up over Philadelphia. Sixers aren't going to be fine from this.
Jacob.
Let's go.
Listen. We're not going to be great. I know that. I'm aware of that. Listen, if we stay out of the play-in and Joel can come back.
Oh, I don't want to play Joel in the playoffs, bro.
Listen,
no one does.
If we can stay as the 5 seed and get Joel back, dude, I can't think of anybody that want to play us.
Yeah, in the future, I agree. For now, they're not going to be okay.
The only thing I care about is if we get in the dance, because if we get in the dance and Joel is healthy,
got a chance,
and we have Buddy Hield now. Listen, we've been close the last 4 years. I want to say. A couple, even
7, 8. Honestly, it's been just about every year.
Listen, we get to Game 7 in the second round and we choke.
Kawhi Leonard hit the shot on.
Is this the dagger?
I think Kawhi Leonard wants to play against Joel Embiid. No one else.
When that happened, I was watching it in my room. The stream cut out. I missed what happened. I called my cousins and they wouldn't answer. They're like, "We lost," and then I saw the replay and I cried.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, if we're the 5 seed and we get Joel back for the playoffs, bro, I don't want to say the East is cooked, but everybody should stop. We shouldn't overlook the Sixers.
Okay, you're gonna beat you'll maybe beat New York. You're not gonna beat the Cavs.
I think they would beat.
We'll go to 7.
You could beat Milwaukee.
We'll go to 7. We'll go to 7.
You'll go to 7. But you'll probably lose Game 7, and then
we're like that.
And then you'll go play Boston, and Boston's gonna beat you.
The difference is the Cavs have more depth.
Jacob, I will see you at Rocket Mortgage in April.
I look forward to it. But now, looking at the MVP race, Jokic is the clear front runner. I don't care what any of y'all say. Donovan, I love Donovan. He's
a dark horse.
He's like top 3, top 5, I think, Donovan. We got to put some respect. I can't believe none of y'all said this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for crying out loud. They're second in the Western Conference. They've been second in the Western Conference all year. He's averaging over 30 points per game, around 7 assists, I think like 5 rebounds too. He's the leader for the Thunder. I think he's the second guy right now. Then you got Donovan behind him. Kawhi Leonard, I think, could potentially sneak in and win the award, albeit he can't do any load management or stuff like that too. And I really think it's just going to be Jokic right now. It could be Giannis. Giannis might sneak in, but I don't think Giannis really has much of a chance right now. But final topic here for the NBA, guys. The All-Star teams. The reserves were announced last week as well. We're going to go over the teams here real quick. So the starters, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, he's out with an injury. The reserves for the East then are Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Julius Randle, Bam Adebayo, Tyrese Maxey, Paolo Banchero. Then injury replacements, we got Trae Young and Scotty Barnes. Then for the West, we got starters is SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic. And then the reserves, Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Paul George, Karl Anthony Towns. Who has the better squad and who are maybe some snubs?
Better squad. I think I'm going to give the edge to the West this year. I'm going to give the edge with all the injury replacements. If the East had Embiid, I'm going the East. That's what I'm saying, Tom.
I agree. I mean, if Embiid was healthy, like I said with the Sixers, it's a different game.
Yeah, and I'm going to say a surprise. My surprise was Lillard being a starter. No disrespect. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, Damian Lillard. But this year, I feel like I would have even taken Tyrese Maxey over him as a starter. But it should have been Donovan Mitchell or Jalen Brunson. I'm making that clear right now. Trae Young should have been in there over Damian Lillard, which he got in as an injury replacement. But my biggest snub this year is Jared Allen. I feel like he should have got in over Scotty Barnes as a replacement. He had 15 straight double-doubles. He was averaging 15 a game, 10 rebounds on 65% field goal percentage. And he's, I believe, top 6 in Defensive Player of the Year running. So that's my biggest snub.
I got to agree with Chris, man. He hit the nail on the head. I don't have a lot to add.
I would agree on biggest snub being Jared Allen over who was it you said?
Scotty Barnes got in.
And injury replacement, I think Jared Allen absolutely should have been in there. I think Lillard deserves a spot on the squad. I don't know if he's a starter. He definitely deserves to be there. I don't think Trae Young should have been an injury reserve. I think he should have been just reserves. He probably deserved a spot easily. Honestly, though, I think the West has a pretty clear-and-cut better squad than the East this year. It's I won't say different because most of my life it's been this format, but it's been different than what we've seen the last couple of years, if I'm correct, right? We're going back to traditional East-West.
Yeah, they're going back to East-West now.
It's going to be interesting to watch for the first time in a couple of years, and I don't know. I think, honestly, that the West has a better squad overall.
Yeah, I really don't understand how you don't put Jared Allen when he scores 15 straight double-doubles, and he's cooking right now. And the Cavs played last night, right? Yeah, the Cavs did play last night. They handled the Knicks. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is a nerd.
Ben Simmons, dun dun dun.
He's just shoving Allen down, and then Allen coming right back at him, shoving him. Thank God Donovan Mitchell held him back, or else maybe Allen would have been suspended if he went roundhouse Ben Simmons. But that's not relevant. Jared Allen should have been in, but I enjoy that they're going back to the East-West. Personally, I didn't really enjoy Team LeBron and Team Giannis. I didn't really enjoy that at all.
Undefeated, by the way. Just letting you know, he never lost.
All right.
Legoat.
La Pookie. Legoat. Oh, I'm sorry. But, yes. And I do think the West has a better roster with, obviously, the injuries. But, yeah.
Yeah. I would have to agree. The West has the better roster. For me, snubs, I can see where you guys are going with Jared Allen. Love you, Jared, very dearly, but I don't think he was the biggest snub in the Eastern Conference. We're overlooking Kristaps Porzingis, starting center for the Boston Celtics. He's putting up great numbers this year. Pascal Siakam as well. He's putting up great numbers for the Pacers and the Raptors this year. In the West, though, the ones that I were really surprised by, I don't know who you would put these guys in over, but you can make an argument for De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. The Kings are still cooking. Sabonis put up a triple-double against the Cavs earlier this week. So either one of those two, I think, should have been in. But, again, I don't know who you're putting it in.
Yeah, that's just a stacked squad.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox deserves an all-star, but with the absolute stacked roster that you have in the West, you can't find a place for him.
Yeah, and same thing right there with Sabonis, I feel like if anything, you could maybe switch out Karl Anthony Towns and Domantas Sabonis, but no disrespect to Cat. Cat very much deserves it. They're one of the best teams in the NBA this year. So I don't know who you're putting in, but the West definitely has the better squad. But we're going to transition here, guys, real quick, to the MLB. A lot of big moves last week. Corbin Burns traded to the Baltimore Orioles, so the Orioles finally get an ace. Jose Altuve signs a big contract extension, and Clayton Kershaw, he's back with the LA Dodgers. What is the biggest move in your guys' eyes?
Oh, no doubt. Corbin Burns. He was a 2021 Cy Young. In that year, he posted a 7.5 WAR, 2.43 ERA, 12.61 strikeouts per 9 innings. In this past season, he wasn't as elite as 2021, but he still posted a 3.39 ERA, 3.4 WAR, and 9.29 strikeouts per 9 innings. He He finished in pitching run value in the 96th percentile and the fastball run value in the 88th percentile. He'll be a free agent following the 2024 season, but with new ownership in Baltimore, I think they're going to extend him, and I think Baltimore's going to be competing for a long time.
Yeah, truthfully, I don't know. I kind of want to say the Altuve contract in terms of like, what, it was a 5-year deal, right?
I think it was 5 years, 125, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, he, outside of, J.J. Watt, he's probably Houston's most recent iconic sports figure.
Yeah.
I mean, he pretty much epitomizes that town for them. I mean, he's a cheater, but... what can you say? I also really like the Kershaw move. We talk about a legacy move right there. Mm-hmm. 1 more year, stick it out, try and get another championship.
I don't want to talk too much about Jose Altuve because I'm salty as an ex-baseball player that he is the same size as me and he can hit like 30 home runs a year. Like, where was that when I was playing? But I would have to say the Corbin Burns move is big. Baltimore's been struggling, but, adding an ace, getting some new ownership, maybe they might start to turn things around, become a contender in the next couple of years. So I think that's probably the biggest move in the MLB.
Yeah, Corbin Burns going 10-8 last year with a 3.39 ERA, 200 strikeout plateau, and only 66 walks. That's an ace right there that the Orioles just got. And the Orioles, it's been exciting watching them. Unfortunate that they lost in the playoffs last year. I really wish they would have made the World Series, but I don't think anyone saw that coming. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, Corbin Burns definitely the biggest trade.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you guys on that. Corbin Burns is the biggest move of the week. But what I will say, I don't like baseball in a lot of different aspects. I don't like how there's no salary cap. I don't necessarily like sitting down and watching a game kind of early on in the season. I love watching postseason ball. But one thing I do love about baseball is guys typically like to stay on one team for the most part. It's changed a little bit recently, but for the most part, guys like to stay on a team for a long time. So that's why I like Jose Altuve and Clayton Kershaw. I could never see them in any other uniforms than where they're at right now in Houston and Los Angeles. So I like those moves too. Those are more legacy moves, kind of like how Tom mentioned. Not necessarily going to have as big of an impact, I don't think, as Corbin Burns, but definitely still significant for those franchises. Now, the next topic here for the MLB. This was rather interesting. Las Vegas mayor said that she believes that the Oakland Athletics should not move from the city of Oakland and really consider kind of negotiating a deal with Oakland to stay in their city. Of course, they are rumored to be going to Las Vegas around 2028, I believe, is when the stadium is projected to be built, but they could be gone by 2025 is what they're saying. So what are you guys' thoughts right there on really the Las Vegas mayor coming out and saying, hey, we don't even know if we really want you here in our city?
I'm surprised by that because Vegas is booming right now. They're getting teams. They have an NFL team. They have an NHL team. They're going to be getting an NBA team here in a few years, them in Seattle. Likely the two destinations for expansions. But I'm with the mayor there. Let Oakland have a team, man. The city needs it. The city lost the Raiders. The city lost the Warriors. They need the Athletics. They need new ownership. That's what they need. They need an owner that will spend money, build a team, and go compete for a World Series. That's my take on that.
Right again, Chris. As a not to relate this back to Pittsburgh, but I know what bad baseball ownership's like.
I can chip in on that one too.
Yeah, we understand how that is.
Yeah, I mean we all know. You spend nothing, win nothing. Bob Nutty, all right, trash owner. But yeah, if you're not going to spend anything and you don't care about actually investing, not only in your team but like in your community, I mean, there's no point for you to be there. Vegas has more than enough. At some point, you could argue it'd be oversaturated. Mm-hmm. And Oakland, at that point, they'll have nothing. And I feel terrible for that city with regards to sports because, at one point, like Kris said, had the Raiders. The Raiders, they were at least semi-competitive, usually, right? And the Warriors, I don't have to say anything about that. But, man, if you're going to lose everything, it's rough. I think they should stay in Oakland and sell the team.
Yeah, I actually I wrote a paper about this last year for Dr. Bailey. I miss him dearly still to this day. I wish he was still here. He was a great advisor. But I don't know. I think I agree with these guys. I think the A's should stay in Oakland, maybe find some new ownership, maybe upgrade the stadium that's been the exact same for the past 75 years or whatever it is and is falling apart. That could bring some new fan viewership, some more people, some more revenue, I don't know. Vegas is a big city, obviously. A lot of opportunity there for some revenue, but I don't know. I think you should keep the teams where they are. And Oakland doesn't have a lot in terms of sports teams. They've lost a lot already. I think they should fight to keep the A's.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same terms when it comes to the Athletics staying in Oakland. And Steph Curry having 60 points and still losing, that's actually insane for the Warriors.
Very insane.
I would cry if I was Curry. But, yes, Oakland, they need to keep the A's. You've lost the Raiders. I personally enjoyed watching the Raiders play on that little baseball stadium.
Cool.
It was very cool. And what was it? Marquette King, absolute legend, legendary punter.
Oh, yeah.
I love Marquette King, but yes. On to you, Jacob.
Yes, of course. I'm going to go and completely agreeing with all of you guys. Oakland should have a team. Where they're trying to build the stadium to, guys, they're trying to build it on the Strip somewhere. Where you're going to build that, I have no idea.
There's not a lot of room there.
Yeah.
Stripper show up to the game.
now I've been to Allegiant Stadium. That's on the Strip of Las Vegas, but kind of off to the side, and it's impressive. But I was walking around there. I think they're trying to put it over by Allegiant Stadium. There's not much room to put a stadium over there. So I think that's what the mayor's kind of saying right here. Just renegotiate with Oakland, for crying out loud. Just stay with the city that's really supported you throughout everything. I just can't imagine us calling them the Las Vegas Athletics or changing a different name. That has no good ring to it, personally, I don't think. So yeah, just stay in Oakland, sell the team, like how Tom said as well.
Absolutely.
Come on now, give the fans what they deserve.
Bring back Moneyball.
Yes, of course. And now, gentlemen, today, unfortunately, as Cleveland Guardians fans, Corey Kluber, a legend of the franchise, he retired. So just want to hear you guys' thoughts, if you have any, just on the career of Corey Kluber.
Corey, thank you for those 2 Cy Young seasons. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for being a part of that World Series run. Thank you. That's all I got to say. Team legend, I'd love to have you back as a coach. Thank you.
When I see a good pitcher, it gets me excited, I love the defensive side of games. I think it gets overlooked a lot. So, to see one of the greats leave, it's a little sad.
Thank you for the World Series run, Kluber. Gonna miss you.
Yeah, Kluber. I'm a Pirates fan, but I would root for the Indians when they were the Indians. Or am I not allowed to say that?
You're not allowed to say that anymore. Bro.
Oh my gosh. It'll always be the Indies to me, but yeah, growing up, watching Kluber just dominate. 116-77 overall, 344 career RA, 1,725 strikeouts, and only 368 walks. His 2 Cy Youngs. He was
an absolute force.
He had that dog in him.
He had that dog in him.
That he did. I kind of am echoing that same thing. Thank you to Corey Kluber. Now, interesting enough, guys, I used to be a big-time Boston Red Sox fan, actually. I'm not even going to lie.
Whoa.
But I have my reasoning, okay?
Get out of here.
No, here's why. Victor Martinez gets traded to Boston. He was my favorite baseball player of all time at the time. So I followed him, and then I discovered David Ortiz and Dustin Pedroia, and then the rest is history. Once those guys left, though, I'm leaning back more towards Cleveland now, honestly. I like the Guardians a lot, so definitely I kept my eye on Corey Kluber the whole entire time. Cleveland's always been my second favorite team, kind of right behind Boston. Now they've moved back up into number 1. So with Corey Kluber retiring, really, all I can remember is just in that World Series run, they pitched his arm off. I think that's kind of what hurt a couple of years of his career because he was pitching so much in that postseason. But, man, he almost put that whole entire team on his back.
Absolute trooper.
Yes, absolute trooper indeed. So close to a World Series. But Corey Kluber. Thank you so much. I hope one day we see him in Cooperstown as well, guys. So that'll do it there for talking about Corey Kluber. Again, shout out to the legend. But quick little Cavs update. We've been doing this recently, kind of towards the end of the show. The Cavs are still red hot, though, guys. Ever since we started recording this podcast, they've just been winning nonstop, really. They've won 14 of their last 15. They're in second in the Eastern Conference. Where do we think the Cavs are going to finish right now in the final standings?
I'm going to say second. I wouldn't be shocked if they make a push for first. I wouldn't be shocked if they finish third. It's going to be top 3, I'll say that. But I think it will be second behind Boston as long as Porzingis stays healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, like you mentioned, there can be a little bit of a crumbling there. But, yeah, I think the Cavs will stay second. They're red hot. I think they're going to stay red hot heading into All-Star break, and I genuinely think they're going to win 56-plus games. I think they might have the second most wins in franchise history.
Wow.
Yeah, just to echo what Kris said, this team is hot right now. They're young, too. That's something that kind of gets overlooked. The average age of this team is like 26. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong on that, but it's below 30. We are a very young squad, and we are just on an absolute tear recently. This squad is just it's a little scary. Now we have a little bit of a history with Cleveland sports teams getting hot a little too early.
He nailed that.
Oh, I nailed that. 25.9 years. I was right on
Shout
the
out
right.
Jason Csank. Great job, man. Great work. Great work.
Thank you. We have a little bit of history. The team formerly known as the Indians getting a little too hot right before the playoffs and losing to the Yankees with 22 in a row. So we have a little bit of history getting hot too early. Hopefully that's not what happens here because we are absolutely on fire right now. I love watching the squad play. I'm saying top 3 at the end of the season, and that's even with a healthy Porzingis. I say top 3. I'm gonna go against what some other Cavs fans have been saying in this podcast so far. Feed us the Knicks round 1. I want retribution.
Whoa.
I want revenge. I want to take down that squad first round.
I'd rather do it in the Eastern Conference Finals, just saying.
That would be nice.
That'd be cool.
I would like to run it back with them. But like we said earlier, they're just I feel like they'll handle us still. But the Cavs 118-95 winning Brooklyn yesterday. 8 straight wins, longest active streak in the NBA. They're 16-8 on the road this season, best in the NBA. 16-1 last 17 games, and then 21-4 since December 16th, best in the NBA. I mean, everything I'm reading right now is best in the NBA. What's this? The Cavs had 13 three-pointers last night. They've hit 12-plus threes in 18 straight games. That's insane. Longest in team history. Evan Mobley recorded a double-double, 3 in his last 4 games. 60th career double-double. It's his 15th this year. And just, man, I could go on. And the 21-0 run to start the third quarter.
Thank you, Ben Simmons.
Wow.
Thank you, Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons, he's a nerd. But the Cavs are just hot. They're exciting. They're fun to watch. It's just, as Jason said, hopefully they don't get hot too early. I witnessed the Indians win their 22nd straight win with Jay Bruce's walk-off down the
Jay Bruce.
right
Shout out
field
Jay
line.
Bruce. I didn't think we'd talk about him.
Shout out Jay Bruce. Shout out Jay Bruce. It was against the Royals, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Walk-off in the bottom
Former
of the 10th.
Cincinnati Red legend, too. There we
Yep.
go.
Phillies legend.
Yeah, Phillies legend as well.
He's just a legend.
Cleveland legend.
He's a legend. Yeah, without a doubt. The Cavs, to me, top 3. I said at the beginning of the year they were going to finish third. I thought they were going to finish behind Boston and Milwaukee. I'm not giving out hope for Milwaukee yet. I think they'll turn it around eventually, but I don't know if they'll catch the Cavs at this point because the Cavs playing highly efficient basketball. They are shooting the 3 ball very good. Dean Wade has not really been one of my favorite players.
He's having a
Normally,
career year.
he is playing great now for the Cavs. He is doing awesome.
Yep.
Sam Merrill as well. I know I've mentioned Sam Merrill so
Love
many
Sammy.
times. I wanted them to cut him at the beginning of the year. Thank God they did not cut Sam Merrill because
Got that strap
Sam
on.
Merrill is one of the best bench players right now in the NBA from a value standpoint. He's making, I think, like $1 or $2 million this year, and he is shooting the lights out of the ball. Put that man in the three-point contest, too. I was so sad seeing he wasn't in the three-point contest.
Mitchell's in, right?
Mitchell's in, though.
Mitchell's
So
in.
shout out
That'll
Donnie.
be exciting.
Shout out
That'll-
Donnie. I hope he wins that.
That'll be
I hope
exciting.
he wins.
That'll be exciting.
But, of course, I think the Cavs are going to finish in the top 3. The key to their success, I've said this all along, it's still going to be Evan Mobley and Jared Allen because Donovan and Darius are going to do what they do. It's going to be up to Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, who, if they play up to their capabilities, which they're doing it right now, even with kind of a very strong outings from Donovan Mitchell. I've just never really seen this team, not with a guy named LeBron James, play such locked-in basketball than the Cavs have right now. Yeah. They're going to finish in the top 3. I'm very excited to see. They're going to have a little bit of a tougher schedule coming up. For example, they'll play Philly on this upcoming Monday. They're going to play Philly a couple more times as the season goes on. They got the Clippers on the schedule, I know, too, later. And I know they beat the Clippers recently, so we'll see how it goes. But I think the Cavs are going to finish in the top 3 for sure.
Well, me, Chris, Tom going to that game on the 12th next Monday against the Sixers.
There you go.
Karis LeVert bobblehead night. Shout out Karis LeVert, 6th man of the year.
Give the Cavs some good luck. Not Philly, though.
Sorry, Tom.
Trust the process.
Okay, we'll
You've
trust
been
the
saying
process.
that for a decade now.
All right, gentlemen. But we're getting ready to wrap things up here. Our final question, our last call of the day. It's going to be a 2-parter. It's themed towards the Super Bowl, of course, happening this weekend. So 2 questions here. 1, first Super Bowl that you guys remember actually sitting down and watching, and then what's your favorite Super Bowl that you've ever seen?
First Super Bowl I remember watching, it was between the Packers and Steelers. I remember watching that. It was in 2011. It was a 35-25 Packers win. It was a great Super Bowl. I remember Greg Jennings. I remember all that Aaron Rodgers versus Ben Roethlisberger and Rashad Mendenhall. That's my first Super Bowl I remember watching. My favorite Super Bowl, Patriots, Eagles. Nick Foles. There's a nickname for him I cannot say on air, but it's Big Something Nick. I think you can put that together. Nick Foles coming in as a backup, leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl in the city of Philly. They just erupted when that happened. It was amazing to see. That was my favorite Super Bowl of all time.
Chris, there's part of me that thinks you said Super Bowl 45 just to hurt me.
No, I remember. That's the first one I remember, being honest.
No, I'm just playing. I didn't get into football until I was like 9 or 10. So Super Bowl 49 was actually the first one I remember between the Patriots and the Seahawks.
Good one.
Would have been better if Pete decided to run the ball, but
I understand why they passed.
That's crazy.
Russell Wilson just threw a terrible ball.
Ramsey, that's
Absolute
crazy.
dominant running back. You got to put it.
And they had
I get that.
They had
that.
timeout.
I'm agreeing.
you
Hey,
gotta punch it
hey. I'm agreeing with you. They should have ran it. Pete Carroll's stupid, but I understand.
Listen, that was
the play.
a good play call. It was terrible timing. I don't want to take Chris's answer of Eagles Patriots, though that was a great Super Bowl. Rams Bengals was pretty good. That was
That's a
really
very
good.
underrated one. Very underappreciated.
Yeah.
Last year's was great, and if it wasn't determined by a weak holding call, it would have been even better.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really tempted to go Patriots Rams. Everybody hates that. Everyone hates that besides me. Like I mentioned earlier, I think in today's society we're so focused on offense that every once in a while you need a good defensive game. You need the defense. I don't know. I find it more fun to watch a defense just impose its will rather than an offense score 40 points, because it's so rare, and for it to happen on the game's biggest stage, I like that.
Kind of like Tom, I didn't really get into football until a little later. I wouldn't say later, but probably 6 or 7. I'm trying to do the math in my head. Super Bowl 44, Indianapolis Colts, New Orleans Saints was the first one that I vividly remember watching. That was a good game. I wanted the Colts to win. They didn't, so I was pretty upset. But I would say my favorite one to watch was Patriots Seahawks. That was just an absolute electric game, back and forth the entire time.
Chris, I don't like that you brought it up, but first Super Bowl I watched, me and my brother watched that game, the Steelers and Packers, and me and Blaine might have sat in the shower and cried for over 3 hours. It was very traumatizing. But my favorite Super Bowl is, of course, Eli Manning defeating Tom Brady, ruining the perfect season into the Super Bowl. 17-14 was score. Oh yeah.
Now, how old would you have been? You would have been what? Probably 2 or 3 at that point.
But I remember watching the highlights.
Okay, you remember watching the highlights.
It's my favorite Super Bowl. I thought.
Okay, yeah.
Not one I remember.
Yeah,
it's
go
my
ahead.
favorite.
Yeah.
What was I? Favorite one, I guess. Favorite one, I guess, when I'm alive, is probably the Patriots Seahawks. Obviously, the ending was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Can I ask you
Run
something
the
real
ball,
quick?
please. What?
Your favorite wasn't the Steelers beating the Cardinals?
I
thought I had to go. I thought I had to pick. No, I don't want to be biased.
If the Browns ever won a Super Bowl, that'd be my favorite for the entirety of my life.
It's one of the greatest endings ever.
I wasn't
that was a good game.
The thing is, I was a baby.
I
was literally. There's a picture of me when I was born, and my dad put a Big Ben strikes gold terrible towel over me. It literally was bigger than me. I wasn't even in the picture. But obviously that would be my favorite Super Bowl. But it's just that I didn't literally
didn't
witness
watch
it.
it.
I
You
didn't
didn't
watch
watch
it.
it.
Obviously, it's my favorite Super Bowl. It's a favorite Super Bowl that I witnessed.
Yeah.
Was Patriots Seahawks.
Yeah.
One that's an L. For some reason, Tom, it's your favorite.
It's up there. It's underrated.
Wow.
Rams
I mean,
Bengals. I may go Rams Bengals.
Well, Rams Bengals is good.
That was
Yeah,
the Super
yeah.
Bowl that they tried to play Sweet Victory on too, but then they didn't.
Travis Scott. Thank you, Travis Scott.
instead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
That was
you
that
were
Super
not.
Bowl
You were
as
not.
well.
Yeah, that was a big letdown.
So I've thrown a lot of Super Bowls out there. So
okay.
I guess to quickly summarize, obviously my favorite Super Bowl that I didn't witness. Wait, what?
It was Chris's idea.
What's going on? Oh man.
Last time. Goes to the back of the end zone. Touchdown by Holmes.
It's great.
That was great.
That's great. It's great.
Great.
Unbelievable.
Can't wait till that's Amari Cooper
Oh, wait, John
next
Madden.
year.
I sure can't wait.
I should have found.
Rest in peace, John.
Rest in peace, John Madden. I heard
Yeah, rest in peace.
I enjoy listening to his play calls on Madden 10.
Yes, Madden 10.
Stacks.
Troy
out there.
Polamalu had Peterson the cover.
I
W cover.
Bro, I should have found the Bill Hillgrove call. Santonio with a touch.
All right, Jake.
All right.
I'm
All right, gentlemen. What is?
That was actually my first Super Bowl that I remember watching, is Super Bowl 43. I watched a little bit of that Super Bowl, though, Ramsey, where David Tyree helmet catch, and then they knocked off the undefeated Patriots. I didn't sit down and remember it, watching it the whole entire way, though. So I'm going to say Super Bowl 43 is the first that I actually watched the whole entire way. Santonio, that's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. One of my favorite Super Bowls I've ever seen. However, I'm going to go, I think Super Bowl 49 with the Patriots and Seahawks. Malcolm Butler's got the greatest play that I think I've seen in the Super Bowl. Just there, that really tops it for me. But also Super Bowl 52 with the Eagles beating the Patriots too. Really solid. I just hope we see a good game this week, guys. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, I'm not trying to see a blowout when what
Yeah.
was it? Seattle absolutely
Or
murdered Denver.
If you guys remember, too, a couple of years ago when the Chiefs were trying to repeat against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, and Tom just laid it down on
Oh,
them 31 to
my
9. I don't want to see anything like that.
yeah,
I don't want to see that.
I just want to see I want to see a shootout. I enjoy offensive shootouts.
Yeah, without a doubt. I want to see a good game.
If you walk out of the tunnel to Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill, you better not lose that game, and the Eagles did not.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. But, gentlemen, that's all we got here for today. It's been fun, as always. Next time, we'll probably be talking about the Super Bowl still a little bit more, kind of our reactions to who's going to end up winning the Lombardi. We think the Chiefs are going to win it, but we shall see. So, appreciate you guys coming back here on the pod. It's always great hanging with the boys. Great job, everyone. Great job.
I hope no one wins the Super Bowl.
Indeed, me too. Unless it's the Cleveland Browns. On that note, here we go.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
All right, we are done here with Raider Zone episode 2. Thank you all for
Go
listening.
Browns.